Hello and welcome. My name is Hannah Gumbo and I am a visual artist. And today we're going to work together to create souvenir snow globes. Ready to go on vacation? Well, this video is part of the Acadiana Center for the Arts online series, Virtual Art Studio. Virtual Art Studio is where teaching artists present lessons in visual art, dance, music, and so much more. And the best part is you can enjoy it from anywhere. So ready to get started today? Awesome. As a visual artist, I get inspiration from everywhere. But one of the big places that I love to get inspired by is when I go on vacation and travel all across the United States. Are you going on a trip anytime soon? This would be a great time to think about a place that you want to go, or maybe that you've already been to for inspiration for our drawing project today. I love going to cold places, hot places, beaches, mountains, all over the place. And anytime I travel, I look for a nice souvenir to remind me of some of the cool things I've seen. And one of those souvenirs that you can find at almost any place you visit is called a souvenir snow globe. So a souvenir snow globe can represent any place, anywhere you go. It doesn't have to be a snowy place. I'm going to show you some examples here, and we'll look at different snow globes that represent different places. This one is a Louisiana one that shows New Orleans. So you can see at the bottom, there's going to be a base that says where exactly this is. And then there's only about 2 different shapes or symbols on the inside of the globe to represent that. So we have a lamppost that shows a street sign, and then we have some Mardi Gras beads and a mask. Another place you could go to is New York City. And New York City has really tall buildings. It has the Statue of Liberty. She holds a big fire in her hands. And then it's also known for the taxi cabs that are those colors that you see right here, yellow with black and white checkered. Let's look at another one. Atlanta, Georgia, as you can see written on the bottom, is also a big city, but it's known for peaches. So you can see a big peach in that cityscape. Has anyone been to Disney World? This is a really cool souvenir snow globe because it shows some of the most popular characters at Disney World, Mickey and Minnie. And when we think of Disney World, we think of the castle. So that's what's inside. But down below, it also shows some other characters, and it shows that this year is the 50th year. There's also a souvenir snow globe of Las Vegas, and you'll notice there's another Statue of Liberty, just like we saw in New York. But this one is much smaller, along with some other icons that you see and a big sign that says, "Welcome to Las Vegas." And then the last one I'll show you is a beach scene. At the bottom, you can tell where the beach is. It's in Hawaii. And it has beautiful Hawaiian flowers, a really pretty rainbow, and then different animals and scenes that you would see inside that place. Think about all those souvenir snow globes. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so I'm going to get my materials out, and together we're going to do a step-by-step example of how to create a beach scene souvenir snow globe, okay? So you will need scissors, any kind of glue. I like stick glue. Definitely gonna need a pencil. Any kind of markers or crayons or colored pencils would be good. And then any size white paper that you have. I think at least 2 sheets would be a great way to start. This can be notebook paper, this can be computer paper, this can be from a sketchbook. Just use what you have. And then optional, if you like, if you want to make nice straight lines, you can use a ruler. And you could also experiment with colored paper if you have it. But as long as you have a pencil and white paper, you can do the next step. All right, let's get started. So to practice, we are going to do a step-by-step drawing of a souvenir snow globe that has a beach scene. So you can start with a pencil. Just so that you're able to see my example, I'm going to go ahead and use a large dark marker. If you want to use a marker to draw, you can do that too. You just won't be able to erase. So I have my white sheet of paper up here. As you saw, snow globes can be all shapes and sizes. They can be tall and skinny, they could be long. So for this example, we just want to make a snow globe that's going to fit on our paper really nicely. So to start, we're going to create the base. I'm going to create a straight horizontal line here, but I want it to be a little bit shorter than the width of my paper. And I also want to make sure I have enough room to make my base have space to put where my beach scene is. So follow along. I'm going to start with one horizontal line here. And then I'm going to follow it with a second horizontal line just a little bit longer than this one. Now you can see that I put these pretty far apart. You can put yours a little bit closer together if you want. I just want my base to be nice and big so I have plenty of room to write my words. I also am leaving space on the side so that I have a little bit of a border around my paper. If you have made your two lines like this and they look a little smaller than mine, just go ahead and take your pencil and lengthen them out and make them a little bit longer. When you're ready, we're going to connect these two lines. And we're starting to create the base of our snow globe. Now I can make a big circle here and I can make this a really large snow globe, or I can make it a little bit smaller. It's up to you. I think I'm going to try to go really big on this one. So we're going to create a rounded shape, but it's not going to be a full circle because the base is what's holding our snow globe together. So when I'm deciding how tall I want to do this, maybe I'm going to do a dot right here in the middle to let myself know this is how high I'm going to be going. You don't have to do the dot, but sometimes this helps me when I start drawing to know exactly how high I want to go before I come back down. And let's go. Halfway point, I can stop if I need to. Make sure it's looking how I want it to. I can come back around this way, or I can keep going down this side, whatever helps you to follow and make a nice even shape. All right, it looks pretty good. So this is going to be the base of my snow globe, and you can use this idea to put anything you want inside. But right now, let's do a beach scene together. So think about where you see beaches at. We have beaches in Louisiana, we have beaches in Florida, Alabama. You can write any of those words here at the bottom, or you can simply write the words beach. Or you can write a specific beach that maybe you like to travel with your family to, like Destin or something like that. So I'm just going to write beach. And I did my best to fill up the entire space. Maybe you want your word to be a little bit smaller here, or maybe you want it to be just as big as mine. You can practice and experiment. I wanted to make sure that all of my letters fit inside and that I made them nice and big so that you could read them. So go ahead and fill in the word that you want to put here. And I used capital letters. You can use a combination. You can do nice script or fancy letters, maybe with some swirls. You can make it your own. After you have your word here, you're going to start filling in the inside with things that you would find at the beach. So let's think about that. It could be seashells or palm trees. When we think about the beach, we think about how sunny it is outside and how we need to put sunscreen. And generally when we go to the beach, we don't stay indoors. We like to go outdoors and experience all the sand and the fun. So I want to show that inside my snow globe. And it's kind of funny to talk about because a snow globe seems like it would be for someplace cold. But in this case, instead of snow falling when we shake it, maybe there would be tiny little stars or seashells. So this is taking an idea of a cold place, but changing it and making it a nice warm beach scene. So to get started, I'm gonna put my sun. And the sun is really important because it's a bright sunny day. So that's going to be a circle, and I could put that to the left or to the right. I'm going to go ahead and put it here. Perfect. And you could leave it just like this, or you could put some rays around your sun. You'll notice I'm really close to the edge, but I didn't go over. And then in this big space right here, I want to put a nice tree for shade because we have our sun out, but we're going to need some shade. So to get started with that, I'm going to create some leaf shapes. And this is how I did mine, but just like any other tree, they're all different. So it doesn't have to look perfect like mine. I'm just creating some jagged shapes like this. I've got 2, that's a great start. I'm gonna have a few more coming out. And I kind of like how this is starting to look. It's a bunch of different leaves. That's gonna give me a lot of shade. And then I'm gonna create the base of my tree. That's where my tree is gonna start. And then palm trees usually aren't completely straight up. They have a nice curve to them. So my next 2 lines will be curved. Line number 1. And then I'm going to do a similar curve and just go up to the top, making it a little skinnier as I go. Perfect. And that's my palm tree. I may add some lines like this. Maybe some more leaves coming out. And now I have a sun and I have shade. So we can't do a beach scene without showing sand and water. So let's add that in. As I'm adding my sand and my water, I want to make sure that I'm going behind the tree and I'm not drawing a line straight over it. So first, I'm going to come right here behind my tree, and I'm going to create a nice sandy beach to sit on. Behind my tree and my sand, I want to create some water. And I'll go probably about this high. You can make your water more or less. And I like to show waves, so I just went up and down as I went across. So let's add a few more things to show more in our beach scene. Maybe we'll add some clouds. If you want, you can do a smiley face on your sun or sunglasses. You can show some of the seashells, maybe something in the water like a surfboard or a mermaid's tail. So what do you want to add to yours? You can follow along with me or you can add your own things. I think some clouds will look nice right here. And there's more than one way to draw clouds. You can choose your favorite way. I love putting smiley faces on things, so I'm going to put a smiley face on my sun. And I'm going to add just a few dots here to show the sand grains. And maybe some shapes on the side to show different seashells that I would find in the sand. It's starting to look really good. So the last thing I want to do is add in a few waves, and I think I'm going to show a little tail coming out of the water. And that could be a mermaid tail or that could be a fish splashing up. And there we have it. That's my beach scene. So go ahead and add any details you want to yours, and then I will show you some examples of different snow globes that are not beach scenes in a second. How was that? Was that fun for you? I love going to the beach, so that's why I picked beach for us to practice and draw together. But now it's going to be your turn, and I'm going to give you all kinds of different creative examples to start getting your brain and your inspiration going, because I want you to choose your own special place to make a snow globe out of. And this can be using the same steps that we did for beach, where we use this white sheet of paper and a pencil and then we color it in. Or maybe you even want to practice a new shape of snow globe and maybe use it on colored paper and start cutting it out. So let's go through a few examples of some ways that we could take our idea and create our own drawing out of it. That's not step by step, but using all the different ideas and the places that you've been to. So first of all, I want to show you a few things that I have on the wall here. You notice that I'm using different colored paper. Sometimes I draw with crayons, sometimes I draw with markers. That's a really fun way just to take the same drawing you've done and to change it in a small way. Most of these are using the paper going the long, skinny way up. But sometimes I like to turn my paper and do a long snow globe like you can see right here. And if you can read all the different places I have, you can see they're all different. So we can go to the beach, we can show Louisiana, we could show the North Pole. This is another one that shows Louisiana, but it's a totally different scene, right? Sometimes it's fun to play around with not just doing a basic shape right here at the bottom, but maybe we can add an animal on top like I did here. Those are some ideas that I had, but you're gonna have your own ideas. And when we're thinking of a fun place we wanna go to, we may even think of a place that is in our imagination or is a dream that we can't go to yet, like going to the moon. So I think going to the moon would be really fun. And I drew a little rocket and planet Earth and all kinds of things. I have a little alien popping up right here. So even when we do this, it doesn't have to be a place that you've been to. Maybe it's a place you want to go. I'll show you a few more examples. I don't know if any of you have ever been to Texas. Do you see this Texas snow globe that I did? This one I did on a few different sheets of paper. And I love cutting out shapes and gluing them to new sheets of paper. And when I did this one, I used the same steps we did for the beach. So on a white sheet of paper, I did my base and I wrote the word Texas. Then I did a nice round shape at the top and I put things inside that reminded me of that place. So when you go to Texas, you can see some longhorn cattle, and then you'll see the Texas flag that I put here. And I really like the way that this turned out, but I wanted to put it on some colorful paper and on some black paper, so I cut out each shape and glued it to make this small little piece of art. And you can do the same thing. If you don't have colored paper, maybe you can take your crayon and draw a different color background than what your snow globe is. Ooh, this is another beach scene. Instead of writing beach at the bottom, I wrote the word Florida. This is a beach I like to go to a lot. And you can see I did some of the same steps that we did together. A sun, a palm tree, sand, water, clouds. But I just moved things around and I made this snow globe a little bit smaller than the one we did together. You can see how each time the shape is a nice curve at the top and then a nice rectangle at the bottom. I also did the same thing that I did with my Texas snow globe and cut out my main sheet of paper and added it to different colored paper to give it a nice frame. Sometimes I like to leave my artwork in a nice, cool shape like this. Not every piece of artwork has to be on a rectangular or square paper. You can leave your artwork in different shapes, just like this. Now, we talked a little bit about imaginary places. So we can really go to the beach, and we could really go to Louisiana and Texas. But what's a place that maybe is a made-up place or a fun place that you could think of? For me, I love making art. So I might make up a place called Art World. And I'm going to show Art World using my snow globe. Now, Art World isn't a real place, but I put the words at the bottom, and I'm imagining all the different things I would want to do if this place existed. Maybe I would go there and I would paint or draw. I would use my hands and finger paint. I would see lots of colors. And I used all those ideas to put all these different shapes inside to show a place that would be special to me. You can see that for this one, I turned my paper and I did a long snow globe. When we did this one together, I turned my paper the other way and I did a tall snow globe. Which one do you think you're going to do? You're going to use your own idea. Do you want to make a tall snow globe or maybe a long snow globe? Is your place going to be a real place you go to or an imaginary place like Art World? And I'll show you one last example. This is one of the coolest places I've been to, New York City. And I had a lot of fun with this one. I put the Statue of Liberty. I put all the big buildings. Can you tell what this is? It's a big slice of pizza. And New York is also called the Big Apple. That's its nickname. So I wanted to put a big apple at the top. What do you think about all these examples? Are you starting to get some ideas going for your snow globe? It could be anything you want. And remember, there's so many different ways that you can draw them. You'll notice that for a lot of these, I put small little shapes in the background, whether that's dots or stars or maybe just little lines. That's to show that if this was a real snow globe and we shook it, what would move around inside of our snow globe? It doesn't have to be snow. It could be anything we want. Maybe it's confetti. Maybe it's something that's in our scene that goes all over the place. So I'd like for you to try your own now. And remember, you can use a regular white sheet of paper. You can use a color sheet of paper. You can move your paper any which way you want and use some of the steps we did together for our beach drawing to create your very own souvenir snow globe. I can't wait to see what you make. Good luck. Thank you so much for creating with me today. I hope that you had a lot of fun. I know that I did, and I can't wait to see what you made. So whenever you're finished with your souvenir snow globe, the one that you chose the location and the shape for, I'd love for you to show an adult so that they could share it to our Acadiana Center for the Arts Facebook. That way we could all see what you did. I know it's going to be really cool. And I would just love for you to have the best summer ever, have fun in the sun, no matter where you go, even if it's just your backyard. Have a great time, and don't forget to be creative.